Listen,
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
we know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Can't get enough baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
All right, there's no one I'd rather be talking to right now than Mike Vasil. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So I just told you, so we've only met one other time and you would not remember. You say you did, but that's okay. It was a flurry.
Yeah.
It was a flurry. It was a futures game of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a couple of things I find fascinating, about your sort of path. Number one is that the futures game must seem like such a blur last year, was it?
Yeah, definitely. It was a trip I won't forget, but it was a very quick one. But it was unbelievable experience overall, and was really, really happy that the Mets gave me the opportunity to go to that.
All right, you had the cleats.
Uh-huh.
I was going to say what was the most memorable things, but I think the cleats were the most memorable.
The cleats were pretty good. I mean, meeting all those guys who are, obviously a lot of Hall of Fame baseball players at that entire weekend is a pretty special thing too. Ken Griffey Jr. and we had Felix Hernandez as our pitching coach there. It was pretty special experience. Yeah.
So it's, I've been meaning, it just came out, the rosters just came out, and having seen you guys go through it and seen the excitement and seen sort of, like you said, the wide-eyed, everyone in that room was wide-eyed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed that way. Everyone's prospects, but everyone, you looked around, there wasn't anyone without a smile on their face, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think everybody that is at that game is probably pretty excited to be there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not excited to be at that, then I don't know, maybe you're just that good that it doesn't really shock you.
But the future's
yeah. So
what? So now you look back at it, and did you feel, maybe this is a cliche question, but did you feel like that was a confidence booster, a springboard? Because sometimes that happens, right? So I know that I'm having a good year, but now I'm being viewed a different. Did you feel that coming out of there?
I think definitely it probably settled in probably after the season that I went to that. I think in the moment of it, I was just really on a tear, and afterwards I was like, wow, this is really cool, and I obviously was shocked kind of being able to go. You never enter pro ball thinking that you're going to be one of those guys, but I think after the season when I really thought about it, I was like, wow, that was actually really, really cool that I did that. That's a really special experience. Not many people get the opportunity to do that who are incredible ball players. I think it's kind of a timing thing too. You got to be playing really well at the right time. So
it really didn't sink in until after, huh?
Yeah, I think my head was really focused on the season and everything.
Yeah.
That it was just a really cool experience. And then afterwards, I was like, wow, this is pretty special.
So as you go through last year, you have that. You have a lot of things sort of on the LinkedIn page, for lack of better. But it's. So you finish the season. Where's your mind at heading into the offseason? Where do you work out?
Yeah, I work out actually here in Mass at Champion.
Champion.
Mike
Reinhold's.
Mike Reinhold. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Did Rich Hill ever stop by and show you
he
how to
didn't.
throw 84 miles an hour?
No, there were rumors that he was going to be in, and I was pretty excited to get to meet him, but he never ran into him.
He was just on the podcast, and we proclaimed that he's going to be the first ever guy to win the Little League World Series as a coach.
Yeah.
In the College World, in a Major League World Series.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you go into it. After a very successful season, you don't want to put cart before the horse, but when you're in the futures game, when you have a year like that, you're sort of when you hit, there's no way around the internet, right? You're like, Mike's, he's on the verge. Do you feel that? Do you feel like it's close?
I think last year when I got here, I definitely obviously knew it was close, but I think, you kind of have to have some time here before you realize, how close you actually could be. I mean, obviously you got to play well, right? You got to pitch well. But I think, I think for me heading in the off season into this season, I had an idea that I'd probably start here again, and I did, and just that in itself means you were viewed as pretty close. And you got it is what it is, but you can't look into it too much. But those are definitely things that are on my mind.
Is it hard? I mean, is it hard to, like you said, you know what your end game is, right?
Yeah.
But and everyone talks about one day at a time, process, and everything else.
Yeah.
But I would imagine the closer you get, the more challenging it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as much as those things you say are true, and I even find myself doing the same thing, it's like it's tunnel vision. You got to be focused on your process every day and all that. Like, when you have free time away from baseball, like those thoughts are only human. It's you go home or on the off days here in the minor leagues. On Mondays, you're watching. A lot of us are watching major league highlights, and it's not that far off. So I think that's always on everybody's mind to be able to get there. And I think it's just people deal with it in different ways in terms of how they show up to the field and their work ethic and everything and how they view that. I think for me, I'm more of the tunnel vision guy and just
good for you.
Kinda, zero in on what I need to do. But yeah, I mean, that is the end goal. So it's hard not to think about it.
What was spring training like for you?
Spring training was really cool. It was my first big league camp. I got an opportunity the year before to throw in a game, but this year I was invited to spring training, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Yeah. Well, no per diem anymore because the new
Really?
new CBA, with everything. But it was like housing paid for with. Obviously housing paid for, but there was another thing. We get paid now as minor leaguers during spring training, so it kind of evens out.
Yeah,
it evens out a little bit.
I mean, that's like I said, like major league, it's a lot better.
I think the best thing was the food every day walking in it's pretty top shelf. Yeah, it's pretty unreal. So
well, there you go. That's the reason with the major league.
Yeah,
the food, I can tell you. Unless you can live off guys coming down on rehab assignments and paying for stay.
Yeah,
you don't want to rely on that.
Yeah,
you get your own food. But anyway, so when you go, what did you want to work on? You have the good year. You go to spring training. Do you just sort of like, okay, just keep doing the thing, or did you want to adjust something? Did you want to work on something? What was your mindset?
Yeah, I think for me, I obviously want to continue what I had done the year before, but I have made some major adjustments, added a bigger slider and added a sinker as well to my
sweeper.
Yeah, sweeper, and added a sinker as well.
There you call it a bigger slider.
I know. Yeah, sweeper. It's got to be a sweeper. Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't see those things coming, but I think it was like. One of those things where it just happened with my development, and I think it kind of pushed me to that next level of being able to like really pitch more, and those are the things heading into a season that you just never know what's going to be thrown your way, and sometimes it happens a month in, sometimes it happens halfway through the season. You never know. But yeah, I think obviously continue what I had been doing the previous year, but I knew there's a lot of work to be done. This game, you never stop. It's very hard to ever officially figure it out in this game.
Oh, yeah.
I think the best players that I've talked to around here and everything are just the guys that have experience and the most, and how to deal with things, I think, is the biggest thing. So.
Well, to go back to the pitches that you sort of implemented, was that sort of an organizational, we see this, we think you should add that, or was that something that you wanted to pick up, or how'd that work?
I think the thing about the sweeper was it was just something else to throw to right-handed hitters to get them off my four seam. That was kind of like some of the damage I gave up last year, so extra base hits, homers, stuff like that was on four seam fastballs. And it's just a better put-away pitch than for me than like maybe a short, tighter slider that I still throw. But it's just, they're so popular and they've worked for so many guys that they thought I could throw one, and I'm pretty comfortable with mine now. And then
a lot more comfortable than maybe in a couple months ago.
Oh yeah. I think a few months ago I really was struggling with location, like being able to throw for strikes. I could always throw the 2-strike one, but the 2-strike one in an 0-0 count's not going to work. I think for me it's like once I started to throw for strikes and throw like an actual good pitch for a strike, like a good shape, that's when it like took off. And the sinker was just something we added probably like a month and a half ago.
Oh, really?
And we were just throwing in the bullpen, and I was throwing with Grayson Crawford, our pitching coach, and he said, hey, just grip this, and I want to see what happens because your hand on the camera, the way the ball's coming off.
Oh.
And it just took off. And then I was like, okay, what do we do with this? I threw 3 of them. And going to my next start, before the game, I was like, I'm going to throw the sinker. Like, I'm just going to do it. I have nothing to lose. Like, let's just do it. And I ended up doing it, and it was like, great results. And then now I'm like probably more sinkers than I am four seams. Now in game.
That was just about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, and I had no idea that was going to happen. So, yeah.
That's wild. I love that story. I mean, that was this is slow motion at the Edgertronic.
Yep.
So it just picks up, say, hey, listen, we think you can do this.
Yeah.
Give it a whirl.
Yeah, he's a wizard. Grayson Crawford is a wizard of a pitching coach. So he's really, really good with like grips and feel and like knowing what you should throw based off of how you throw, basically, and the way your body moves. And that's what he's really worked well with me on, pitch-wise, and also just like pitch selection in a game. So, yeah.
How much, I mean, here you are, like we said, doorstep of the major leagues. And you're right. I mean, you never figure it out. You're always evolving. But is it striking how much different or better you are than even like a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think it's really I always think back to like my best seasons I've ever had and like where I was and when, and it's like when I look at that guy, obviously I thought I was a great pitcher in that moment, and a lot of what that guy was is still incorporated into who I am today, but it's like just building blocks. Like you're just building and building and building. And it really is amazing. Like, sometimes it's just this game, you think you're the same guy for a while and you look back and you're like, wow, I'm actually so much better than I was, but I didn't even realize it because you're living it. You don't even realize how much better you're getting sometimes, even when the results aren't there. And that's what's really difficult about baseball.
It's also, you're a Northeast kid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and we just had on George Springer, and he talked a lot about this. He's like, as a Northeast kid, and I know that you went to Virginia, which was, congratulations, it's the Deep South compared to Massachusetts. But Northeast, it's a lot of times, you went to BC High?
BC High, yep.
But, you're working out inside, you throw it for the first time outside, and I'm not saying like this is all Northeast kids are tunneling their way out of like 500 feet below the ground, but it's different. It's different being a Northeast kid, right?
No, I think it's you always have a little bit of an edge when you're coming up, like playing. I think it's just like who these guys are. I think it's just like the way I learned how to play. It was just such like a passion, and like obviously I've grown up a Boston sports fan too. It's like we're so passionate about our teams and everything that it's like hard to not like play the game as hard as the guys I watched played the game.
Like who was that?
With the Red Sox, like Pedroia and Ortiz, and like those are the guys that I fell in love with. Really baseball, like watching those guys and how they went about their business. And then it's like now I'm playing, and it's like I want to be like one of those guys when I'm younger. And just Boston sports in general. I could talk about it all day, but all the Patriots teams and everything. So I think with a guy from the Northeast, it's like, you got a little bit more of an edge.
You ever go to a parade?
Yeah, I went to the Patriots parade when they beat Atlanta.
Oh,
I remember it was like the entire grade like banged school that day.
They did.
I'm pretty sure nobody.
BC High. Like,
I know.
What's going on?
I know. Like, thank goodness I'm gone now. They can't get me. But junior year is like the entire school basically banged that day, and everyone was at that parade, 28-3. I mean, how could you not?
No. This is the education that day was going to the parade.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's cool that that like you said, you have that drive out and you walk into a ballpark, and I'll come back. This is looping back to the sort of the futures game. You walk into a ballpark with a third deck, or you grew up going to Fenway Park. It probably hits a little bit different because again you're not that far away from being on the other side of that fence.
I know, and that's what's really, really cool, and that's why I like obviously get really excited to come back here. It used to be Pawtucket, obviously, but I went to a few of those games, and I've been to some pretty historic Red Sox games.
Which one?
I was at the 2013 game when David Ortiz hit the grand slam.
This is the circle of life. We just had on Jared Saltimbanqui literally 2 days ago.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I told him, I tried to talk him off the ledge. I said, Jared, you have one of the most impactful hits of all time. Like I'll say Ortiz is the most impactful hit, and here's my thing. No, people listening in San Diego right now might not care about this, but I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's he had to hit a grand slam. He had to hit a grand slam. Not a double, a single, a triple, or whatever.
Yeah.
He had to hit a grand slam.
No, I know.
And you were there.
I was there. I'll never forget it. And it's even crazier than that. that was actually way crazier than this. But I got the chance earlier this year to play with Jose Iglesias, and when he was here.
That's right.
So, and Jose obviously was on the Tigers then, but when he played for the Red Sox, and Jose and I would say are now pretty good friends. And so I would always tell Iggy, we've shared a baseball moment together in history. We were at the same game, and he always jokes, well, I was on the field. And I was like, well, yeah, no kidding. I was like 12. But it's like being able to even just like be there, and he's at second or wherever he was.
Do you have to I know that but that must be like, we have these sort of hallmark moments.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I kind of can't believe I'm playing with Jose Iglesias right now.
No, at first it was like, that's Jose Iglesias, and then it became just Iggy, and then now we're friends, and now he's the most famous singer in all of baseball.
I was gonna say, did he give you did he sing to you, or?
I had many opportunities to listen to Candelita sing his song for me. And he's a great singer, and he's a great friend. And it was, so I knew about Oh My God for a while, and then now everyone else is finding out about it, and I've heard it a lot.
It sounds like he was just going around singing this in the clubhouse all the time.
It would be, he goes 3 for 4 with a couple singles and a great pull side jack, and then he'd come in and Oh My God's playing. And,
wait, it's playing or he's singing?
He had the song on his phone before it was released, so it was all finished and everything, and then eventually they released it.
So he had it queued up in the dugout?
Or not the dugout, locker room after the game.
Room.
Yeah, but anytime you drive me anywhere, get in his car, he'd put it on. He asked me, "You think it's gonna be a hit?" And I was like, I don't know, but it sounds pretty good. So, yeah.
I love your response.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's good effort.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you trying.
But it's good. I'm not going to lie. It's a good song.
Listen, good song or bad song, it's getting the job done.
Yeah,
I mean, that and
that's
Grimace,
right.
I mean, let's go.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I don't know, it's what's the Syracuse Mets version of Grimace? What's the minor league version of Grimace?
Probably be our mascot, Scooch. It's this big it's similar shape to Grimace. It's just big and orange. And
okay.
Yeah.
All right, all these things that you get to do.
Yeah,
man,
exactly.
As a kid going to Fenway Park. You said you had another history. Did you go to any other huge
games? I was at Jeter's last game. That was at Fenway Park.
Joe Kelly took the selfie.
Yes.
All right. You know who owns this podcast? Joe Kelly.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
LLC.
Unreal. I was at the game that he actually fought.
You were at
Tyler
the Tyler Austin fight.
I was at that. It was 2018, obviously, and it was April something. And me and another buddy from BC High, I randomly won tickets through the school raffle, and we got tickets to that game that night. And then that was the night that Joe Kelly fought Tyler Austin. It was throwing like 104, and he went out there, and it was I'll never forget that either.
So you'll know more now, but so not only does he own the LLC, but Joe and I wrote a book together that came out last year.
That's awesome.
Which we went into great detail. I'm going to tell you a quick story about this, if I may, because I feel like you'll be interested.
Yeah.
On page 27, whatever it is. A couple weeks later, he's driving through Times Square. Who's your agent?
My agent is Casey Close.
Okay,
with Excel
I just want to make sure I wasn't saying that.
Yeah.
He's driving through the Times Square with his agents, and walking across the street, Tyler Austin.
Wow.
And he jumps out, he tries to get out of the car to fight him.
Wow.
No lie.
Wow.
And his agent jumped and locked the door so he couldn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
So A Damn Near Perfect Game, a best-selling book, came out last year. I'll make sure you get a copy.
Yeah.
I feel like you would truly appreciate.
Yeah.
You've been to the best games.
I've been to some pretty, and I think Poppy's last game against they got knocked out against Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland.
I was there. I was there for that too. What? Yeah, so I've been.
Is it because you were a good baseball player?
I don't know. There was this weird. I don't know. I somehow always ended up at these historic games at Fenway Park.
That's so awesome.
In my lifetime, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
So when you're too young to do the whole '86 Mets thing, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
but my dad knows about it. Yeah, the ESPN thing about it, Once Upon a Time in Queens. That's from the Mets' point of view.
When you're a little kid, right? And when you're a little kid, do you say, "I don't care"? how much money that like I'm never gonna play for a team X, right? Like it was. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, I'm never playing for the Yankees, like ever, right? Right? I mean, obviously, but that your whole, as you sit here in a Mets or Mets affiliated uniform, it's probably. I don't know if you were that way or not. Or you just wanted to play baseball.
I think when I was a kid, it's like, so let's see, 04 happened. I was 4, and it was just like once I started playing more, it was like I'm not supposed to like the Yankees. And it was just a thing, just because when I was younger playing baseball and the rivalry and everything. So I think it was just naturally, like, I didn't know why I didn't like the Yankees, but I just didn't like them because I'm from here.
Yeah.
Which is just what it is. But I always have just loved baseball. Like, it didn't matter what team. It was like, I'm just a baseball guy. Like, that's why people are like, your favorite team, growing up it's the Red Sox, but I have so many players that I just love. Like, I just love to watch them and watch them play, so.
Well, you've been very generous with your time. The last thing is I just want to see how you're doing. We talked about, you feel good about your new pitches. You feel good about everything. It's, how do you feel about that?
Good. I feel like I'm in a really good spot right now. Like, April is probably the worst season or worst month I've ever had in minor league baseball, which is fine because it's like one of the months that probably changed around maybe the trajectory of the rest of the season and years to come, and like that stuff happens. It was a really bad month, but like ever since then it's just been going like this and trending, and I've figured out so much more about myself, and I think that's the most important thing. And like I said, development never stops. It's at times last year when I was here and had success, it'd be easy to think I'm that much closer, but that's not how this game works. It's just not how it works. It'll humble you very quickly, but the way it did humble me and what it showed me from where I was in the end of April until now is amazing. And I, knock on wood, feeling really good and confident and happy to be home and just keep playing baseball.
Well, you've secured yourself a book, a T-shirt, and some stickers because if nothing else, you were at the Joe Kelly game. So, last thing, most importantly, we've been asking people this: would you pay $500 to go to a Taylor Swift concert and watch it with, in part of the deal was you watch it with Travis Kelce?
I'm watching with Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I'm a Patriots guy, so it's like Patriots, Chiefs, like.
And no affiliation to Taylor Swift. Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm gonna catch
you're Jose Iglesias.
I'm a Candelita guy.
Yeah.
That's who I'm. Yeah, no, she does have very good music.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I pay $500 for a hangout. I'm good.
All right. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.